Welcome to Southern Sense Talk on Rumble. You are going to love Annie the Radio Chickadee Ubelis and her co-host, C.S. Bennett. You'll find them live here on Fridays from 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Date Time. Check out their website at Southern Sense, as in commonsense.net. It's that easy, southernsense.net. So sit back and relax. They're informative, fun, irreverent, and politically incorrect. You never know where they'll go, but you'll love the journey.
Here we go, and I'm hitting all the wrong buttons already. Welcome to another adventure here on Southern Sense. You're watching us live up on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, Rumble, and Substack. And welcome, everyone. Please feel free to join in the chat rooms that are on X, especially up on X right now. I got to tell you, Curtis, we recently had, I had the ability just yesterday to be up with Tony Schaefer and Chris Cordani on their show, Wake Up Patriots, yesterday. And it was a blast. I'm telling you that. So folks, if you are on X, just go and just below the show, you'll see I posted the Wake Up Patriots with Tony Schaefer, Colonel Tony Schaefer. He was a Trump advisor in the first Trump administration. You see him up often on Newsmax. He got banned from Fox, but I had a lot of fun doing that, and along with Chris Cordani. So check it out, guys. We got a great show going on today. We have Michael Letts returning. He's from investusa.org that provides bulletproof vests for the men and women out there serving as our first responders in law enforcement. He's also been down to the border working with Border Patrol. He is a minister. He's a chaplain to law enforcement office also. So he's all over the place. Are you messing around with my screen here, Curtis?
I just cropped mine. I didn't know it was going to impact yours.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. All right, Curtis is having fun in the studio here. We also have AJ Rice. He has the Publius National Post up on Substack, but he is the publicist for the A-list on conservatives. He's handled Donald Trump Jr., Peter Navarro, Judge Jeanine Pirro. A lot of guests that we have come on the show come through him. I mean, if they're out there, he's handled them. So I don't think there is a person that is an ultra conservative that he hasn't handled. He's got our friend Gregory Wrightstone from the CO2 Coalition. I had the honor of being the first person to ever interview Gregory Wrightstone, and boy, he took off from there. So I guess maybe I make stars. I can't make myself a star, but I can make stars.
What about Trevor Loudon?
I haven't talked to him in a while. I've been meaning to pick up the phone and call him. But I don't know. It's possible. He still does.
Is he on that list?
Trevor's on my list, that's for sure. Anyway, a lot has gone on this morning, and it's really, really blown up. John Bolton has had his home and his office raided. Now, I got to tell you, folks, I did book John Bolton for the show. Oh, good Lord. Maybe, I think it was about 5 years ago when his book first came out. But I got like a funny vibe. So after I booked him, I canceled him, honestly. So he's never been on the show. And now it seems like whatever my vibe was, it's true. I knew from the way he talked, he's an anti-Trumper. He's been out to get him one way or another. And I don't know what's wrong with him. But I kind of sensed it. I sensed it. Now, turn around. I mean, Trump had Mar-a-Lago raided. Roger Stone had his home raided 6 a.m. So 6 a.m. they're at John Bolton and raiding his house. And supposedly they're coming up with a lot of stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works out. this is Trump's quote. He goes, "I'm not a fan of John Bolton. He's a real sort of lowlife." So I guess I'm not the only one that felt that there was something off key. I guess my instincts were good. My instincts
Yeah, I
were
never
pretty good.
trusted the guy. He looked like he was deep state all the way.
Yeah. Even when he was in the Trump administration as an ambassador, he was like wishy-washy. You'd expect him to do A, and he turned around and did B. And I think maybe that's what it was that alerted me that something was wrong. And I think there's only one other time I canceled a guest before. And that was maybe 10 years ago. So only canceling 2 over all these years. Interesting. Another thing. Oh God, Cracker Barrel. I mean, we've got a Cracker Barrel near us. And what Cracker Barrel has done, they have gone ultra woke. I went onto their website when this story broke over the last 2 days. They've changed the logo. They took the white guy out of the logo. And if you go onto their page, they flash people of all different ethnicities and various genders. The 15 different flavors, or is it 56 different flavors of the year? They went ultra woke. They took out that old-timey Southern feel to it. The gift shop, I'm understanding, is gone. Everything now looks ultra modern.
They're getting rid of the gift shop too?
That's what I'm understanding. And if you look at their webpage, it's that old-timey feeling, that's good old Southern home cooked feeling that you get. It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna tell you
what
the shares went down.
They're gonna go broke. They went woke, they're gonna go broke. You see that every single time and time again. They go woke, they go broke. The average American wants to feel comfortable when they go out to eat. They don't want to feel like this wokism is being shoved down their throat. They want a good chicken fried steak. Good Lord. Where else can you get a good chicken fried steak? That old home feeling, and have a good glass of American beer. But no, they had to go woke. And if you look at their homepage also, where what is it? Home Manners or something like that they call it. They list every single possible woke organization that they support. Completely DEI. Completely DEI. I'm sorry.
It's not going to work.
No, it's not.
It's not going to work.
It's not. When you get the Democratic
replaced, just like the Target CEO, they replaced him because he took Target down the DEI path.
Well, Bed Bath & Beyond did the same thing. So the guy from Overstock took over Bed Bath & Beyond, and he's turning it back around to just basic good American feel. I don't care what you do behind closed doors. It's your business. It doesn't have to be shoved down my face, though. That's all I care about. And you leave me alone, I leave you alone. And we could probably get along and be good friends and neighbors if you just take that damn attitude. It's it. It's something as simple as that. And this is why the Democratic Party has shed 4.5 million voters. 2.1 in 20 states that don't require you to register by party. 2.1 Democratic voters voted Republican. And in the 30 states that do track and have you register by party, it was 2.4 million that left the Democratic Party and changed their affiliation to Republican. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people that fled. They're either going to vote independent or Republican.
Well, my thoughts on Cracker Barrel is they don't do things like this on a whim. I think this was in the planning for at least a year, and they had the expectation that Miss Kamala Harris was going to be president. And once Trump won, they invested too much in this change to change it. That's what I believe.
Yeah. They did put all their money, and I have AJ Rice coming on the second half of the show. And this is some of the things that he talks about with me. So it'd be great to see, AJ's take on all of this. But it is It should be a wake-up call. And can the Democratic Party ever recover from such a major loss? Now, we have the possibility of the Republican Party being split because Elon Musk started the American, what is it, that American First or whatever it is party. But it seems like he's backed off on that. And there seems to be
Yeah, I haven't heard no more about
amends
it.
being made. Yeah, and you don't hear a lot about it at all. It looks like he and Trump are, looks like they may be shaking hands and being friends once again. How that works out, we'll see. But we don't need the Republican Party split at this point in time. It would be the worst possible thing for us to have happen. But
Yeah. Well, that's how we got Clinton, thanks to Ross Perot.
Exactly. So what we're seeing now on the Democratic side, they're being split. You have people like Fetterman and others that are going independent. They said we pledged to the Democratic Party, but you guys have gone so far to the extreme. If the Democratic Party is standing by Zohran Mamdani for mayor, an outright anti-Semite communist, and you're finding
AOC.
young people are when they go to college, they will mimic the words of the wokeness only just so they can get their degree and get out of there. But that's not what they truly believe. When you find kids 18 to 29 voting Republican, and yet they'll mimic the DEI when they're in the classroom, fine. Hey, if that's what it takes for you to get your college degree, all right, I can't blame you. I really can't blame you. But they're voting Republican. And they're losing the youth. Young men are tired of this toxic masculinity that the feminists have been shoving down their throats. Hey, you're born a man, you're a man. They want to be men. They want to be masculine. It's not toxic, it's nature. It just goes so far. And you shouldn't be ashamed of being born a female, but yet they still are trying to convince kids that are barely out of diapers that they were born in the wrong body. That's not what we should be teaching our kids. Reading, writing, arithmetic, proper manners, proper social etiquette, yes. To respect their elders, yes. To respect each other, yes. But to tell a kid that's barely out of diapers that you might have been born in the wrong body, that's sick. That is absolutely sick. They can't vote, they can't drink, they can't drive, they can't do anything an adult does, and yet you're giving them permission to change their life forever and do irreparable harm. Well, that's my rant for the day, guys.
Well, thankfully, that was rejected in the last election.
Yes, it has been. It has been. But I want to remind people that those that listen in, we do have a dedication to a fallen hero. And today's dedication is going out to Deputy Sergeant Martin Shields, Jr. of the Hinds County Sheriff's Office of Mississippi. His end of watch was Sunday, February 23rd of this year. Deputy Sheriff Martin Shields was shot and killed while responding to a domestic call in Terry, Mississippi. A female requested help in retrieving her belongings from a home when Deputy Shields and another deputy arrived at the scene. A man inside the house fired at them. The suspect also shot his wife and another female trying to flee the home. The women were transported to a local hospital and were in stable condition. When responding officers entered the home, the suspect was found with self-inflicted gunshot wounds. He had a lengthy criminal history, 7 felony arrests and 18 misdemeanor arrests with 0 convictions. This is the left for you. Deputy Shields had served in the Hinds County Sheriff's Office for 9 months and previously served in the Mississippi Department of Corrections and the Jackson Police Department. He is survived by his wife and daughter. His father had also served with the Hinds County Sheriff's Office. And this is his dedication.
Well, the Hinds County community, county leaders in the state of Mississippi are grieving the loss of a Hinds County deputy who lost his life in the line of duty Sunday evening.
12 News, Cameron Smith joining us live now outside of the Hinds County Sheriff's Office. And Cameron, do you have any updates for us? And can you tell us how people are reacting?
Yeah, Melody, people are having a hard time with this loss as Hinds County lost Deputy Shields last night. And this afternoon, there was a procession that took place for Deputy Shields. And this morning, we spoke with a family in the community who says anytime that someone loses their life, it's devastating. Several law enforcement agencies lined up at the state crime lab to join a procession carrying 37-year-old Deputy Martin Shields. Hinds County Sheriff Tyree Jones says Shields died after being shot on Midway Road, where he responded to a domestic call for service. The sheriff says agents with the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation found Eric Brown deceased inside the home. Jones believes Brown is a suspect in the death of Shields and the shooting of Brown's wife and a female accomplice at the location. Jenny, a mother of 10, lives on Green Gable Road off of Midway Road.
It was kind of scary.
She recalls what she saw through the distance on Midway.
We saw police officers going by and lots of them.
Her son Ben, who describes the sounds he heard.
I had heard probably about like 12 gunshots very rapidly. It sounded like a semi-automatic of some sort.
While watching a movie with one of his brothers, his mother, Jenny, reflected Monday morning, recapping the incident that took place Sunday evening.
Just devastated to hear about the loss of life and the officer that was killed. And yeah, I mean, it's just hard to think that something like that could happen just right around the corner from you. But my husband and I went for a walk this morning and just give God the glory and thanks that, we're safe and that there weren't more people that were hurt.
After lives were lost in gunfire, Shields had been employed with Hinds County Sheriff's Office for 9 months. His law enforcement experience extends beyond that, including serving with the Jackson Police Department.
He was a good person. He was a good man. And whenever someone loses their life in the line of duty, it hurts all of us in law enforcement.
The procession ended Monday afternoon at the West Haven Funeral Home, where Shields will be until final arrangements are announced. Sheriff Jones shared with us that Brown's cause of death is under investigation, and both ladies are in stable condition. Stay with us as we continue to follow this investigation. Live in Jackson, Cameron Smith, 12 News.
Thank you, Cameron. Congressman Benny Thompson released a statement offering his condolences on the loss of Deputy Martin Shields Jr., stating, "I was devastated to learn of the passing of Martin Shields Jr., who made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. My heartfelt condolences are with his family, the Hinds County Sheriff's Department, and the community at large," end quote.
Deputy Martin Shields Jr. was laid to rest today, and throughout the day, the capital city was packed with people here to celebrate his life and pay their respects.
Hard to show this amount of unity this morning.
Law enforcement from across the country, friends and family gathering to pay respect to fallen Deputy Martin Shields Jr.
We feel that it's a necessity in these troubling times, so it's just to show our support.
I'm very familiar with, or friends with the chief, and I want to come and show support for the family and for the fallen officer.
As he was laid to rest, his celebration of life held at Jackson Revival Center was filled with singing. And family members sharing fond memories about the impact Deputy Shields had on them and the community.
If you know Mark was a man of few words. His favorite, I call them Mark-isms, was "I got you, what you waiting on."
Pastor Jennifer Beard giving encouraging words.
To his dad, to his stepdad, to his siblings, to those who worked alongside him, I want you to know that his sacrifice will not be forgotten. I want you to know that you are not in this moment of grief alone. Our community stands with you. Our church stands with you. And today we share your pain.
In 9 months, Deputy Shields made a significant impact on the Hinds County Sheriff's Department. He was described as courageous, compassionate, dependable, a beacon of hope, and a pillar in the community. Above all, a hero. Deputy Shields formerly worked with the Ridgeland Police Department and served with the Jackson Police Department for 3 years. Chief Joseph Wade presented his family with his badge from his time with JPD during the funeral.
Always be a member of the Jackson Police Department family.
He showed up and worked hard, serving the citizens of Jackson.
Deputy Shields leaves behind a daughter, and he was also a proud Lanier High School Bulldog. I'm live in Jackson. Kennedy Cooper, 16 WAPT News.
Let it be said, when we finish this race, we kept them free, we led with grace. Let it be seen, from sea to shining sea, beautiful America, living our legacy. Oh, father, mother, sister, brother, oh, we gotta learn to love each other. Oh, for the soul of the nation, for the next generation. Let us be known as people of honor, humble and bold, faithful through fire. Let us hold firm to our convictions with wide open hearts, eager to listen. Oh, father, mother, sister, brother, oh, we gotta learn to love each other. Oh, for the soul of the nation, for the next generation. Let us make room. Let us reimagine, welcoming voices with true compassion. Let's craft a world with hopes and dreams, challenges known, those still unseen. Oh, father, mother, sister, brother, oh, we gotta learn to love each other. Oh, for the soul of the nation, for the next generation. Let us be sure, when our time has come, we gave them hope, we made them strong. Let it be said, when we finish this race, we kept them free, yeah, we led with grace. Oh, father, mother, sister, brother, oh, we gotta learn to love each other. Oh, for the soul of the nation, for the next generation.
All right, we're back, and you're here watching Southern Sense live on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, YouTube, Rumble, Substack. Oh, geez, we're all over the place, as well as going out on Spotify, iTunes, and whatever else. I didn't even know we were up on Spotify until someone turned around and said they saw us up there.
Wow.
But I want to thank everyone for joining us. The chat room is open up on Facebook. I also have it up open on X, and we've got a lot of people viewing over there already. You know, I gotta say, it- it's been 15 years I've been doing this, but it seems like this year there's something special. Maybe it's because Trump is in the White House that suddenly our show is just taking off. A couple of weeks ago, we had on X alone 193,000. Our last show last week on Friday, I believe it was 97,000. We were happy if we got 2 or 3,000, but now we're looking at it- way out there. I thank God, thank you guys, thank you for sticking with us and being loyal to us. Also, some of them have been here since the day we started. Like our friend James in the chat room, he's like every single week he's there before I'm even opening the chat. So, hey, listen, one of the things I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
before our guest calls in is MSNBC, or as Trump calls it, the MSDNC. At the end of this year, they're dropping the NBC. They're getting divorced from NBC. I guess
I
NBC
heard
felt
about
they went
that.
way too left, and they're going to call it MS Now. And I'm thinking that is a very awkward name. That's going to be something that sooner or later someone's going to turn around and take it and run with it. And yes, it is. They now call it Ms. Now. So instead of MSNBC, it's going to be Ms. Now. I mean, that's the worst name they probably could have picked, but they did. That said, let's bring in a friend of the show. He's been on here before, and we want to welcome back Mr. Michael Letts of InvestUSA.org. How are you doing today? I mean, we're having a blast this year. I mean,
I'll tell you
while
what,
we
Ed, it's hard to keep track of everything that's going on, isn't it? Though I mean, there's never a lack of things going on. Many of them are entertaining. It's entertaining to what degree the left will go when they're in a panic mode.
Yeah, they are. They are
True.
actually now in a panic mode, and it is so very, very true. Um, I don't even know where to start because we start each show with a dedication to a fallen hero, and in years past, under previous administrations, I would see going on to the Officer Down Memorial page that people can find at odmp.org. You would look at the stats, and you and I knowing having been there and done that, it's very hard to do this. But I'm seeing this year that we're not being attacked as much as we had been in the past. There's not as many names going up, which makes me happy. Makes me
Oh,
very,
no
very
question.
happy. So I
You're
think
right,
that
Ed.
maybe the idea that someone is in the White House that will support first responders, especially law enforcement. We see what's going on in DC alone. It's been 8 days in DC without a single murder. I mean,
Amazing.
robberies are down, I think 80 some odd percent. The stats I was looking at this morning. I mean, Michael, give me your take on what's going on here.
Well, it's a much broader story, Ed, and I appreciate so much you bringing it up. Let's talk about how we got here within the last 6 months with the Trump administration. We know that we as Americans and our cities, we have the capacity. There's nothing wrong with our law enforcement if they're supported. We can provide the necessary security if given the chance. But what were we up against? Well, when Joe Biden took office 4 years ago, roughly 4.5 years ago, we had roughly 1.4 million sworn officers across the country. When he left, we had under 700,000. So there's no way you can provide the necessary security and safety for the average citizen with that kind of figures. Now, you say, well, what could be done about it? How did it get to that point? Well, when you have defund the police movements, when you take a message to cops that we don't want you, we don't need you, we don't like you, we'd be better off without you, And then, of course, you add other policy issues that administration did, such as encouraging local jurisdictions, state jurisdictions. You got to rein these cops in. You need to tell them how to do a takedown. And what is a takedown? That's when you're apprehending and cuffing a suspect. Here's the problem that you encounter with that, Ann. When you're taking down somebody who doesn't want to be taken down, who perhaps has an arm, a pistol, an armament, and you're in a fight between you and them, and one of you's not going home, you have to realize real quickly, it's very cumbersome for me to try to sit there and remember, now, am I allowed to use my left hand or my right hand? I can't remember you just want to survive. You want to make sure you take the bad guy off the street and you get to go hug your kid when this shift is over. But here's the consequence of that. Because of everybody having an iPhone, a camera, etc., everybody's recording. If you use the left hand instead of the right hand, guess who gets in trouble? The criminal is just kind of, oh, we're not worried about him. He needs a second chance. Just go ahead and give him a small bond. In fact, don't even give him a bond. Give him a PR bond. Send him home. But you should know better. You broke the procedure in the manuals, and we're going to throw the book at you. And when they did that, Ann, the numbers people just begin to say, why am I in this profession?
Yeah.
And then, of course, you had the vaccination things, or they use us as guinea pigs. You have to do this or you can't go to work. It's no wonder why we lost so many.
No, and the officer I did the dedication to, the man that killed him had 7 felony arrests and 18 misdemeanor arrests with 0 convictions. That's revolving door justice. I mean, revolving door justice. You're just letting the bad guy go out there, and you're not he's not responsible for his actions. I mean, there's no consequences to this.
And I love what you just said.
18 misdemeanors with 0. Something's wrong here.
And I love what you just said, Ann. That's been with the other key, 0 accountability. We have developed a culture that nobody is responsible for anything they do anymore. There is no accountability. And it's always somebody else's fault. It was a circumstance that made me do it, et cetera. So we got to this point to where people during the last election suddenly realized this is getting out of hand. I don't want to live in a society that I can't even walk out the door to go for a walk with my spouse or go to the grocery store and come back without getting shot at. So they resoundingly rejected that philosophy and ideology. And we put in place an administration that's going to hold people accountable. Now, that's immediately what we started to do once the president was sworn in. But there's another dilemma here, Ann, that we've got to take a look at. Our young people, they have picked up on the philosophy of the previous administration where there's no accountability. We have reinforced that by allowing laws that when you're from 14 to 18, you really don't have accountability. You kill we're talking about murder. You kill somebody, we'll maybe put you in a juvie detention center, which is kind of really more like a country club, okay? For just a couple years, at best till you're 18. Once you turn 18, you're out, and we expunge your record. It's as if nothing ever happened. Now, why did they do that? They tried to convince you and I, aren't we fantastic by doing that? We're giving young people a second chance. No, you're not. You're teaching young people that crime pays. And by the time they get involved from 14 to 18 and see no consequences, and then they pass 18, they're good at it. And so they're going to stay in that career. You've destroyed that young person. You didn't give them a second chance. You destroyed their future in their life by teaching them that crime is a valuable commodity to them. So that having been said, that sets the stage. Over the last 5 weeks, you saw what happened in Cincinnati. You had the thugs, and that's what we'll call them, the thugs that were beating people who were casually walking downtown, listening to the concert. Their friends are gathering around, putting it on film, okay, seeing who could get it up on YouTube on Rubble first to get their 15 seconds of fame. Well, you and I both know young people are exceptionally vulnerable to wanting to be part of the in crowd. When something catches that this is the end thing to do, it spreads like wildfire. We were hoping that was not going to be the case, but here's what happened. Suddenly it occurred in LA, Portland, Seattle, Detroit, Chicago, and New York City. Then it came to Washington, D.C. 2 weeks ago. We had 100 young people that, and because of the philosophies with the Washington PD when we sent the Washington PD out because they were getting rowdy. They were starting to be aggressive, attack innocent people in the park. This is the park down by the docks. Police were stood down. They had to retreat. And that's when the president said, okay, that's it. Enough's enough. And he said, we're going to federalize the DC police. We're going to bring in an additional 250 additional federal agents, and we're going to bring in the Guard. And we're going to use a show of force. Now, they immediately got criticism. That won't do any good because all will happen is the criminals will go lock the door, stay inside for 30 days, order in pizza, and then as soon as you leave, they'll be back on the streets. That's what they were hoping for. But here's how we countered that. We're not going to do that. We are going to go in and search and find every illegal immigrant, especially those with criminal records, and ship them home. They won't be there in 30 days to be able to go back out on the streets when this operation ends. So, and that's the first thing. Second thing, if you're an American citizen, we're going to find you if you're breaking the law. You're not going to continue to roam the streets. You can sit in jail and wait until your time comes up to be heard. And the third thing we're going to do is we got Judge Janine, who is the U.S. attorney now for D.C., to help spearhead a national movement. We have got to readdress these youth laws that we have on the books. You know, it's very simple, Ann. If you're old enough to do the crime, you're old enough to do the time.
To do the time, yes.
Exactly. And so you saw we've been implementing that, and it's been wildly successful. You were given the statistics when we first started this show, how much crime has gone down. It's been overwhelmingly, even more so than we thought, overwhelmingly successful. Now, what does that do? So people understand why you're hearing such negative things. It scares the left to death. Why?
Yeah.
Because we're coming into elections in 2026, and it doesn't make any difference whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. You want to be safe. You want to know that you can live your life without being shot at every other day. And so whoever reduces that crime, it has a successful program, they're going to get noticed. And the Democrats can't afford for that to happen. So they have decided to unleash every arsenal they have. This doesn't work. Oh, people don't want to go out to eat anymore. It's killing the economy. They're scared that there's guardsmen walking up down the street. You know, that's the biggest a bunch of junk I've ever heard, because we have talked to the residents out there. They're ecstatic. They're going back out to eat. The economy is booming back up because they do feel safe. So when you hear a criticism, 9.9 times out of 10, there's no merit to it. It's got one objective: make this program look bad, so we'll abandon it so that they'll have a better chance in 2026. It's not going to work this time, man.
No, it's not.
Don't forget the race card. They're only going after brown people.
That's just a given, you know. That's the top card they always play. The interesting part, I'm glad you brought that up, Arthur, is that it doesn't seem to be playing like it used to for some reason for them. You know, they keep flipping that card out. It's kind of like, yeah, I've seen that one before. What other cards you got? And it's just not working the way it used to for them. So they are definitely in a panic and a disarray, and they'll continue to fight to see if they can do anything they can to make you think bad about what we're doing. But good luck to them, because it's not working right now.
No, it's not. And when you see that 4.5 million people between 2020 and 2024 left the Democratic Party, 4.5 million. Holy cow. And thank you, because the votes are coming our way now. It is going our way. You know,
people are waking up.
They are.
I was listening to the deputy mayor of public safety. I wrote his name down somewhere around here, Chaz something or other, speaking on the TV. And I actually wanted to go through the TV and just throttle the guy. Because he was talking about the Comstat numbers. Now, Comstat came around back in the 90s. And I remember when it was being formed, and it was highly criticized because the numbers were being fudged. You'd bring someone in for grand theft and they'd knock it down to petty. You know, it's constantly done. So the Comstat numbers, I would never, ever, ever trust. All right?
Oh, you're exactly right. I've seen it every day. What they do is they'll send out a directive. We're not going to count illegal immigrants that are arrested, because after all, they're really not American citizens. We don't have jurisdiction over. We're going to send them back to the country. They shouldn't be part of our statistics. So we eliminate that, make it look better. We eliminate, well, let's not go after this class because, and yeah, you can't trust a thing they say.
No, he was saying how safe New York City was, but yet New York City over the past decade has lost, on average, 300 cops a year. They
Correct.
are so undermanned. They're undermanned, and it's impossible to patrol the streets in that manner. I personally can attest for that, because I remember walking a foot post that very rarely anyone walked, and I would have the storekeepers going, "Thank you, thank you, thank you," because I would be going in behind the stores in areas where normally you don't expect someone to be, and that's where the crime happens. But these guys in New York City, they're doing the best, and their hands are tied, and I just really wanted to throttle this guy, because New York City is notorious to seeing the attacks on police as well as firefighters.
Yeah,
and you're having also now sanitation workers being attacked. So in New York, I don't know whether or not Trump can federalize a force to go in there, but he can in DC, because DC is not a state; it is a federal territory.
Well, what we can do, talking about and what you saw that's happening in LA, we can federalize and bring in troops to provide protection for federal assets. And so, just the mere presence, and this is what I was told, well, these people can't do it. Of course, they weren't talking about DC. They were talking about if it expands. They can't do anything. They can't arrest anybody. You don't understand how the process works. We put together 6 guardsmen, fully armed, because they're there to protect our property. Then we add 2 or 3 local or state law officers who do have the jurisdiction. And we put these teams out there. And when the criminal see, instead of one cop walking down the street, they see a group of 10 or 15 at a time. It has a dramatic impact psychologically on what they do and don't want to do. And that does make a huge
Locked and
difference.
loaded.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Giuliani called it the broken window policy.
Yes.
And it's under him that we clean the streets, so that I would turn around and I'd see someone doing a petty crime, and I would turn around and it's like, you got a choice. You either get out of here or I'm going to arrest you. And I brought a kid in, for something very petty, but he decided to arrest, and his grandmother jumped on my back. I said, "Ma'am, if I let him do this on this corner, and they see a cop standing on the other corner, the drug dealer's going to go, well, I can turn around and start dealing drugs, because they're not going to do anything. They don't care."
Correct.
The broken window policy works. But here you're also saying you take federal assets, whether National Guard or whatever, and you have them escort the prisoners. You now have extra cops now to work on the street. You can take that National Guard and put them behind a desk, and that cop is now available to go on the street. You can have them do in non-enforcement duties and allow the cops that are doing those duties on the street. Hey, it's brilliant.
It is. And when I've caught criticism on some shows, well, here we go. We're going to have a military dictatorship in this country. That's the furthest thing from our mind. Is all we are trying to do is to utilize all the resources and assets this country possesses, because the preamble in the Constitution guarantees you the right to a common defense. In other words, we are supposed to defend our populace and our citizens. You have that right to expect safety. And so we're going to simply do that and provide supplementation till we can help build up our law enforcement forces. Because remember the statistics I just gave you, we're way down in recruitment. Now it's turning around, but we got a ways to go in. So once we get it to where we've cleaned up the streets, restored safety, and brought back enough forces to maintain safety, I promise you the military will be out of there. We have no desire to be there a minute longer than we have to be, but we have every desire to make sure that every American citizen has a fundamental right to be safe.
Trump
Personally,
is doing
I think
I'm sorry,
Trump is on the right track, and I think he's going to bring a lot of people to his side in this issue, because of the fact that, like you said earlier, people want to feel safe. There's a lot of blacks in the black community that experience black on black crime every day, and they don't like it. So they don't say much, but they like what he's doing right now. And
I think it's interesting that you brought that up,
America safe again.
because we are getting at the White House, folks.
When it comes to police,
Yeah, we're getting at the White House more
I
videos
think some of the
from.
police that left the
This the
force
problem.
were afraid of being prosecuted.
Yeah, you're right. If we're getting more videos now at the White House from minorities across the country, Chicago, New York, and others that are saying, "Hey, we love what you're doing in D.C. Don't forget us. Bring that program here." Now, like you said, it's going to have to be a little different because we can't federalize in those cities, but they love what's happening, and we will find a way to make sure we help them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the optics of Trump on patrol yesterday. The way he was supporting the troops.
Yeah.
And when the nation sees that, they see the first step that maybe then into coming to their community in a real near future. The optics were fantastic on that. I I've got so many different things. My head is going in so many different directions. But we also see now that Trump is turning around and saying, all right, fine, you did lawfare on me. And I'm not going to ignore the fact that things have happened that were illegal under the previous administration. We see John Bolton's home and office being raided. His book came out in 2020. I was talking about this at the beginning of the show. In the entire 15 years I've done this, I've only canceled 2 guests before they came on air. And John Bolton was one of them. Because when his book came out and I started learning more about the book, and I says, no. There's something really fishy going on here.
Right.
And I've been proven to be right, because now here we find he may have put things in there that were top secret that should never have been brought to the public. Sorry, that's not supposed to happen here.
We've had a couple things and developed with that in the last few hours. You are correct. There appears to be classified information, not just in the book, but that we have found located in his home. And then B, his bank accounts will, they always say to follow the money. Well, there's a lot of money to be followed here. We'll kind of leave it at that for right now. But that tends to let you know there's a lot more to this story than what we have released at this point.
Yeah. And now we're seeing the investigations going to Letitia James. I mean, when she was campaigning, I'm screaming crazy. Why is she being allowed to say that she's going to go after Donald Trump in an election campaign? She was already saying he was her target.
That's correct.
She should have been yanked from that. She should have been disqualified for running for office at that point in time. And that's just a drop in the bucket.
Well, that bucket, that bucket's coming back around to be collected on now, isn't it? She's going to have a hard time getting out of these, Ann, because this is not speculative. These are black and white. Either you lied on the forms and you signed your name, or you didn't. And all the evidence is there of what she did do. And, I realize that the argument now is, well, it's a minor crime. Here's the problem, man. Who decided it was a minor crime and a major crime? I thought we upheld the law regardless of who it applied to and regardless of what the law was. If we're going to start dictating, I don't think that law is worth upholding, then we don't have law. And we have just destroyed the very foundation and the basis of law. So that's not going to fly for her. It's not going to work.
No, and when she got that verdict,
for Adam Schiff either.
No, Shifty Schiff. But when she got that verdict of $500 million against Donald Trump, Curtis, if you remember correctly, I said that's unconstitutional. Excessive fines. It's in the Constitution to protection. And I'm glad finally that judge has made the correct ruling. This is a civil matter, and the fine should be no more than $5,000.
Correct.
And I said it from day one, and I'm glad finally to see the law is being upheld.
Well, that's the other problem that Letitia's got.
Trying to bankrupt them.
The court ruled that it was a violation of the 8th Amendment. And what that does for Letitia now is she just has now been basically told she violated Donald Trump's civil rights. She broke constitutional mandates. And that means, what does it mean for her? She's personally liable. So, Trump is able to then go back and say, look at all the money you cost me. I want my money back. And I hope he does that.
I do too. I do too, because it looks like Melania may be going after Hunter Biden too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can't get any better than this. I mean,
I agree.
for the last 4 years, we were like going, "Oh God, how much worse can it be?" But I got to admit, while we were doing the dedication, I took a chance to look at my stock portfolio, and today the stock market is just booming. And Donald Trump has actually turned, I think, the
Up
nation around
700.
in a manner.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it under Ronald Reagan, but not with as much energy and so quickly the change.
Vigor.
I don't think I've ever lived in a administration that has done so much in so short a period of time. And this is only 8 months in. Holy
And
moly, what's going to happen for the rest of another?
I agree. It shows also that for those who say that Donald Trump doesn't have the intelligence, doesn't know what he's doing, he was telling Jerome, Powell that you've got to reduce rates. This morning, he finally says, I may. He didn't even reduce them yet. He said, I may. And you saw what happened to the market today, just on the basis of the possibility that that's going to occur. And of course, Trump knew all along, if you follow the direction I'm giving, it will be a boom economically to this country. And I think, he's just, that's what's got the liberals just so upset trying to find anything they can find, and because it appears that everything he is directing, saying, implementing seems to have merit. It seems to be working, and they can't stand it.
Yeah, and the other things he's doing, he's going after the cartels.
Correct.
And he's going after the countries that are harboring the cartels, such as Venezuela. He has brought up, 4,000 troops and 4.5 million militiamen.
Yeah, we have sent down 4,000 Marines, along with 3 destroyers, escort ships, and 2 submarines. And he has responded by saying he's going to call up 4.5 million Venezuelan militiamen. I'm not so sure what he defines as a Venezuelan militiaman, but I will tell you this: it doesn't make any difference whether it's 4 million or 10 million. You don't want to go against the firepower of the United States military.
No, and he's making things happen. Well, Michael, people can find you at investusa.org, where you raise money through various programs, nonprofit programs, to give armament to the men and women serving as law enforcement across the nation. And that is fantastic, because I remember joining, and the vests were just something brand new.
Right. And then, of course,
clumsy little things.
Yeah, they were clumsy. And of course, you remember back then they were made just to stop a sidearm, a pistol. Of course, we had different days back then. Nobody was proud of being a criminal. That's why you took your gun, you put it underneath your shirt so nobody could see it. You pulled it out the last second in a robbery at a convenience store, and you ran outside. You took off. Nowadays, with the drug cartels and the rest of them, they're proud of what they do. They walk in with AK-47s, shotguns, et cetera, et cetera. That's why we had to create new technology called active shooter vests that have titanium plates that'll stop any round, including, the rounds that we just talked about. Different times, different days, but we still have the same principles work, and they work well, and that is you uphold the law, you deal harshly with those who break it, you have equal justice for all, so that nobody is given preferential treatment. People will have respect for values and principles, and we have a society that we can be proud of.
Well, Michael, thank you for joining us, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless America. Keep up what you're doing. You're making a difference, and you've got happy days are here again, Ann. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless.
Take care.
Check out Michael Letts at investusa.org. Well, Curtis, we got our interview coming up with AJ Rice. So let me see if I can get him up here on board. Let me do my little magic here, and we'll be right back. You can name it. He's had his hand on that person. So welcome aboard, AJ.
Great to be here, Annie. Really. You're a law enforcement gal. You must be excited about what you're seeing from coast to coast. The actual laws on the books are finally being enforced. Imagine that. Imagine that. All these different Republicans that have come along different Democrats, I mean, I guess you could kind of say, well, they're not going to enforce the law, but Republicans weren't either. And, going back to, who knows, Eisenhower. And the reality is that there's a new sheriff in town. It's not A.J. Rice. It's Donald John Trump. And he's not playing around. He's not playing around. And it's beautiful to see all my clients on TV all day long that are making some of this law enforcement happen.
I get a kick out of it because you said watching your clients. I can turn around and walk past the TV. Goes, I interviewed that person. No, yes, I interviewed that person. Little old me, a little tiny podcaster out of the middle of nowhere. But I want to thank you for all the fans that have been coming to this show. Some of them for the entire 15 years I've been on air. And I want to thank you for sending these great people to me. You got a good book that just came out just last year. I can't believe it's now been a year.
Yeah.
It's called
the White Privilege album. The White Privilege album came out in September. The Walking Dead came out in 2022. And next year, now that I won't be living in the gulag because we won this election last year. Volume 3 will be coming out. So I'll make sure we get you some copies of that. We'll have a little fun with that. Heads will explode, which is my purpose. Look, my day job is to run Publius PR. Which is, fairly well-known conservative PR firm. We handle, like I said a minute ago, a lot of the people that are in the Trump White House, but many, many others too, and even fiction authors and people with memoirs, sports people, religious people, and not just books. We handle a lot of conservative groups, True the Vote, Gun Owners of America, CO2 Coalition, I could go on and on, Federalist Society. But, in the midst of all of that, and I must want, to die early, or I should have my brain examined, I do my own books because I always want, I wanted to know the pain that I'm putting all my clients through. I wanted to feel myself because I am Irish Catholic, so I'm a masochist at birth. Volume 1 and 2 were both Amazon bestsellers. And volume 3 will be out next year.
Well, I got to tell you, just to make you feel even worse, I was born Italian Roman Catholic. Can't get any more Roman Catholic than that. But
that's right.
yeah.
You guys are having way more fun. Break open a leg, you got a little marinara sauce comes out. Not here. You break open my leg, you get mashed potatoes and whiskey. So it's a different mindset. It's a totally different mindset from the Irish to the Italians, but we complement each other. I mean, most of Philadelphia has a little bit of both in there. I like to say that the Irish, I guess it depends on whether you're talking male or female, but the Irish act as the cooling saucer to the Italians. Okay? We're the cooling saucer.
Right? But we gave you St. Patrick, though. We gave you St. Patrick.
Well, that's still being disputed, but sure. He was Roman, that's for sure.
Well, we were talking about public safety, and I was watching over on Newsmax. Was it Newsmax or Fox? I forget now. No, it was Newsmax. They had Kaz Doherty. He's the New York City Deputy Mayor of Public Safety. And I was listening to him, and I actually wanted to throttle him through the TV because he's saying how great New York City is in the downing of crime in the city. And then yet they are losing 300 cops a month. Now, he was saying that cops retire at 20 years. Yeah. But what he's not telling you is if they are vested with 10 years in, they can leave. They can leave the department, do other work, and then when they hit their 20th anniversary that they would have had in New York City, they get their pension.
Really?
They get the pension at the salary they left at the 10-year anniversary. So these guys, they're in 10 years, insane. And they say, hey, wait a minute, I've already got my New York City pension. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go to the city and work where someone would appreciate the job I'm doing. And this is the problem. They're bleeding cops. They're short thousands of officers. And this guy is making it
That's
sound like
that's
New York
a
City is
deal that
rosy.
You can leave it 10 years, and then you got a phantom presence, get paid for your phantom presence, and then get a 20-year pension. That's unbelievable. That's wild.
No, they don't get paid those 10 years they're out.
No, I know that, but they get a pension as if their presence was there for 20.
Yeah, because they have 10 years vested in. And that's in our contract. That's good for us. But
Unbelievable.
he's using these numbers to fudge it. And that's the whole thing. You see these talking heads coming out of these government offices, and deputy mayor of public safety. I didn't know there's more than one mayor in the city of New York. But imagine now what it would be with Mondami in charge. This is under Eric Adams. I want to get you started on Mondami. Go ahead. Give me Mondami.
Well, look, Slumdog Millionaire, he grew up fancy. He grew up fancy. You know, he's a fancy kid, got fancy parents. He's claiming to be an African American, although I think he's probably less of an African American than Elon Musk is. And look, this is the culmination of where the Democrat Party has been headed. Most of us that follow this saw this coming. The Democrats have been doing everything in their power, even when Obama showed up, they did, to keep this wing, which is now more than a wing, it's most of the building, of the Democrat Party from taking power. This is their voters. This is their base. Guys like Rahm Emanuel, guys like James Carville, Bill Maher, Fetterman, they are horrified.
Jasmine Crockett.
Those guys are horrified to meet their base. They're leaving the tower and they're going to meet their base. This is why the Democrats have not had a real primary. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to walk you through it. They've not had a real primary since 2008. Not a competitive one. And that was when Obama took on John Edwards and Hillary Clinton. And Bill Clinton was having a nice laugh with Ted Kennedy, the great savior of women. And they were discussing, you know, who is this guy, Barack Hussein Obama? He should be getting us coffee, you know, should be shining our shoes. And yet he wins. And then he wins again in 2012. So there's no primary then. And then in 2016, old peanut butter mouth, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's got Peter Pan on one side of the inside of her mouth when she talks and Jif on the other. She's the head of the DNC. And they looked out and they saw their voters coming in the form of Bernie Sanders. And they did everything they could to stop their voters. We know this because Donna Brazile got the best hair in the business. She told us what they did in her book. So Bernie's coming. Take the whistle out. Call in the superdelegates to make sure at the convention there wasn't going to be a floor fight, that Bernie's delegates would not, have any power. The Democrat donor class, known as the superdelegates, basically kept Bernie Sanders out of the platform, off the ticket, and out of the room. So they rigged it. They rigged 16, and obviously Hillary then lost to Trump. Now, 2020, oh no, he's back. Stalin's grandson is back, and he's winning again. Except this time, Mayor Pete's winning. Him and his on his bicycle with his husband in Iowa, and then you've got New Hampshire happening. They huddle again. The elites huddle again, and someone calls a meeting before South Carolina. Jim Clyburn gets involved. Now Kamala was out of the race already. She didn't even make it to 2020. Yeah, she was in the trash heap already from late 2019. So Bernie's winning. Bernie's coming. Mayor Pete's got a little bit of juice. I'm not gonna horrify the audience on what kind of juice. He's got a little juice. and someone says, everyone get out of the race. So there goes Crazy Eyes Corey Booker. There goes Klobuchar. There goes Pocahontas. They all get out of the race to clear the table for the vegetable. So the vegetable wins. The vegetable wins South Carolina with the help of the Lance King of Clyburn.
So some of our listeners may not understand who the vegetable is.
Joe Biden's the vegetable. The reanimated corpse. Okay? The meat puppet. So he wins South Carolina. They put him in the basement. He doesn't have to do anything else. We'll handle it. Everyone's gone. Bernie has got a little less juice than he did the first time. Everyone kind of gets in line. Remember, Bloomberg jumped in there for a second and then jumped out. Everyone backs the vegetable. The vegetable gets parked in the basement. And the vegetable, apparently, according to Wikipedia, not according to these lying eyes, but according to Wikipedia, which we know is never wrong, the vegetable won in 2020. So there you got superdelegate rigging against Bernie with Hillary, and then you got everyone pushed out of the race, and the vegetable hooked up to extension cords in his basement in Delaware, and the vegetable wins. Fast forward 2024, the vegetable goes on stage. Donald Trump gives him a haircut, totally demolishes him in the race, in the debate. 100 days, Kamala becomes the nominee. She never won a primary in her life. Somehow is able to raise $1.3 billion and blow it all. They were lighting that shit on fire, Annie. They were lighting it on fire. Yeah? They were sticking her face in that dome in Las Vegas. You know, that was $450,000 a day to stick her face in that dome. Can you imagine trying to land a plane and looking out at that face? Right? The plane would be skidding into the desert looking at that face.
Crashing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Crash and burn.
Can you imagine trying to land your plane in Las Vegas? Oh, look, there's the plaza, the beautiful fountains, oh, the Luxor, you got the pyramid. Oh, my God, look at that face. Look at that face. Anyway, so she's then the nominee and she gets her clock cleaned. So as you can see, Democrats haven't had a real primary. Now, comedian Andrew Schultz, who's a politically incorrect guy. I don't think he's necessarily a right-wing guy, you know, but he's part of the manosphere and the bro podcast group, you know, with Tim Dillon and Rogan and Shane Gillis and Theo Vaughn and the rest of them. He confronted Bernie Sanders about this recently. And Bernie said, I agree with you. Because it basically screwed him out because he's their real voters. I know we want to think that, you know, Fetterman is or there's some kind of, you know, there's some machine out there and it's shooting out a bunch of Joe Liebermans and Evan Bayes and so on. There isn't. There isn't. The Democrat Party are AOC.
Yeah.
The Democrat Party is Pocahontas and Bernie.
Yeah.
The Democrat Party is my girlfriend, Jasmine Crockett. My girlfriend. Don't tell my wife, but she is my girlfriend. She doesn't know it, although I've been on enough shows saying it, including Fox News, so she might know now. You know, she's all pissed off about Trump's China tariffs because, you know, she can't get those eyelashes in from China. So she's running short on those fake eyelashes. So what she does is she gets a pair of scissors. She goes down to NTB, National Tire and Battery, buys a couple tires.
Shreds them. Gets new eyelashes.
Yeah. A couple Michelins, couple Contis, you know, a couple, all-season pro tires, and she slaps them on her face. So look, that's their party, and they're going to have a hard time here. Because Mamdani is their party. It's not Fetterman. Now, there are some sane people over there that realize they're screwed, like Bill Maher. He realizes it because it's globalism, it's wokeism, it's identity politics, it's the trans mafia, it's cancel culture. And the Democrat Party doesn't know what to do, doesn't know how to moderate when they're losing. On the culture front, I mean, Stephen Colbert has been fired for the same reason Kamala didn't win.
The party is not following them. They lost 4.5 million voters. And between 2020 and 2024, it's the first time they lost that many voters since 2018. Now, of the 30 states that track voter registration, that 4-year swing, it was it 2.3 million that they counted. But in the other red states, we're red. Are we red or blue? I forget now.
We're
red states.
We're red states, but they're red communists. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's 2.4 in the 30 states that track voters, but in the states that didn't, all they did was count the ballots, the people that did vote Republican over Democrat. It was another 2.1 million. Coming up to a total of 4.5 million.
I just took your audience down memory lane here to show them that the Democrats are shot. They haven't had a real primary because they were perfectly happy just passing the presidency back and forth between a bunch of families, the Bushes and the Clintons, and obviously Obama stopped that. Trump really stopped it. But you have to understand something. Let me take you now into the multiverse of possible scenarios that could have happened. RFK Jr. is our client here. We represent Maha Action. We've represented him in his books. We represented his super PAC, which was AV24. We represent a lot of the doctors, Corey and Malone and Ed Dowd and Shaz Khan and a bunch of others that are part of the Bobby Brigade. But imagine an alternative universe where, because here's the thing, you're talking about why the Democrats are bleeding Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan and Tulsi Gabbard both voted for Bernie Sanders in 2016. America. So they lost them. So what did you do? How did you screw up?
They go even further left.
How did you blow it? The way Bobby D said at Copland. How did you do that? Because you lost all of that. You lost Naomi Wolf. You lost Elon Musk. You lost Rogan. You lost Tulsi. And of course, you lost the oldest male heir of the most famous Democrat family in the last 100 years, and that is RFK Jr. How did you, so I just showed you all the different rigging, right? 16, 20, 20, 24. Here's another little nugget. And this could have been 6% of the vote, because that's all it took to swing undecideds. Imagine a universe where the Democrats aren't filing lawsuits to keep RFK Jr. off the ballot as a Democrat. Imagine where they let him debate Biden months before Trump takes him out. And you see that he's a vegetable, because Bobby would have made him look like a vegetable too. You have a totally different scenario. Biden goes down even earlier. RFK Jr. is on the ballot. There's a real primary. But they rigged it so that Bobby couldn't get on the Democrat ballot. He couldn't get any debates. He couldn't get any type of action from them. So he became an independent and eventually endorsed Donald Trump. And now is a cabinet secretary doing push-up contests with my other client, Pete Hegseth. That's what he's doing. Now, they blew it. So imagine all of those RFK Jr. people, which is this sort of weird, potpourri of Ross Perot people and Ron Paul people and some Bernie people. And, it's a totally different, some Nader people. It's a totally different group of people. Some Buchananites, dare I say. So they lost them.
Yeah.
So, I'm talking everyone from Woody Harrelson to Joe Rogan. I mean, there's a whole, once Bobby endorsed Trump, that brought a whole different group of people that had never voted Republican before.
Well,
Now,
I'll tell you this: it's even so to the point where the Democratic Party has gone so far left that you have those that are waffling going towards independent. The Party has already split itself. Yet on the other side, Elon Musk threatened to make the new party, the All American Party, which he started. He's now backed off on that.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. He was just off his medication. He was off his medication. Yeah, he was off his medication. He'll be back. You know, he's
the Republican Party's not split. The Democratic Party is split. So when it comes 2028, which RFK already said he's not running, it is a Republican seat if we don't give it away.
Sure. I mean, look, you know, RFK Jr. could end up being somebody's running mate. I mean, we don't know. You know, you have Rubio in the mix. You have obviously Vance. I mean, I think the MAGA coalition will accept any combo of any of them, and Don Jr., of course, who has said that he's looked at it. You know, and we are friends with him. We've been on his show. We've been his publicist for his 2 books, and worked with his publishing house, Winning Team Publishing. So we've put some of those authors on this show as well, including Judge Jeanine and Carrie Lake and MTG and Charlie Kirk and Peter Navarro and so on. So look, we are beating them. Here's the thing. The Democrats will always double down on crazy. They're not out looking for the next Bill Clinton, right? They're out looking for more Mamdanis because that's where their base is. That's where they're, I mean, look, Rahm Emanuel went on some podcast with some super uptight, got hit with a bag of nickels, left-wing female podcaster, and she was scolding him for saying maybe we should care more about schools and less about schools' bathrooms. And she went nuts. She went nuts. That's their party. I mean, look, you know, for all the talk about what Trump has done in the first 6 months, first 100 days, first 200 days, let's look at what the Democrats have shown us, right? What have they shown us? They lifted up their skirt and, whoa, 73 genders under there. Well, what else is under there? The burning of Teslas, the turning around of planes filled with MS-13, the assassination of healthcare executives on the streets of New York, the hunting of Jews on Columbia's campus, right? Sending men dressed as women into Nancy Mace's bathroom. They've defended the IRS. They've defended USAID. So this is who they have shown us they are, and they've shown us their new spokespeople. Obviously, still Bernie, leading the youth movement, Bernie Sanders, and obviously the Latin bartender AOC, and of course my girlfriend Jasmine. So this is and Mamdani. This is the face of their party. You know, and I'd say with the midterms on the horizon, as a marketing guy, I'd say keep it up. Keep it up. I love it. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't try to find the next Bill Clinton. You know, keep doing what you're doing. Double down on Jazzy Jasmine and AOC and the squad. Keep up the Jew hate. Keep up the, being mad that blacks aren't being killed anymore in Washington, D.C. because the National Guard's there. Keep it up. Keep trying to bring MS-13 and Tren de Aragua back so they can go to a cul-de-sac near you.
Yeah.
Keep it up. I love it. It's a great strategy to lose forever.
What they're also doing is becoming very anti-Semitic. And the Jewish population traditionally votes Democrat. They're losing an entire segment of the population with Mamdani and with other anti-Semitic. In Patterson, New Jersey, they're protesting the mayor because an Israeli PAC flew her over there. And now all of a sudden, CARE has now risen its ugly head, and is participating in this protest. I mean,
Sure.
Israel
look,
is an
here's the
ally,
thing.
but yet a whole segment. It's okay. You can't say anything racial about Black, Native American, but it's okay to hate the Jew.
Well, the Jews finally became white. They finally became their colonial power. They see Israel as a colonial power. The last group of white people to become white were the Italians. I tell people all the time the largest mass lynching in American history wasn't of blacks. It was of Italians about 120 years ago in Louisiana. And, the Italian immigrants here went nuts. And the country of Italy got involved. The mafia was formed in a way because of this. Columbus Day was created by the federal government as a kind of a bone that they threw to the Italians because they had a large upper Northeast, anywhere there was Catholics, and New Orleans a Catholic place because of the French were there. People forget our history, and the Jews are now considered this Israeli Mossad colonial power that is stealing all the land from all the poor, helpless Bedouin sheep herders. That's the way it's framed. When in reality, Israel is the canary in the mine shaft for Western civilization. Look, Western civilization sits on 4 legs of the stool, right? Judeo-Christian, Greco-Roman. That's what we are. And I'm sorry, but not all civilizations are created equal, which is why some of them fail, right? Which is why Mamdani wants to run for mayor in New York City and not in some S-hole in Uganda.
No, and what Mandami is going to have higher political views. He's going to go for governor, and from governor, he's going to run for president.
Well, he can't be president. He wasn't born in the United States.
Oh, true story. But he will go for governor of New York.
Sure. He can try that. And look, here's the thing. He could be someone that helps Elise Stefanik win the governor's race. His presence as mayor could help with that. And that's the thing, is that the Democrat Party have become angrier. They've become more radical. They've shed some of the unique characters like Elon and RFK Jr. that were part of their coalition for years. They've lost even some Hollywood people. They've lost a lot of stand-up comics and podcasters because of wokeism and because of political correctness and because of the trans mafia and because of the Jew hate. I mean, look, whether or not J.D. Vance can recreate what happened remains to be seen. But I will tell you, Donald Trump's Republican Party became more working class, became more multi-ethnic, because it wasn't just the Jews in the suburbs of Philadelphia that voted for Trump.
Young black men. Young black men between 18 and 30.
I mean, how did he also win Dearborn, Michigan? He won the Muslims in Michigan. He won the Jews in Pennsylvania. Paging Josh Shapiro. The Democrats didn't put Shapiro on the ticket because of how anti-Semitic they had become. Right? They lost a bunch of, they looked like they were, playing footsie with Hamas last November. So look, you have African-American males in Clark County, Nevada, in Atlanta, in Philly, in Pittsburgh, in Detroit. They all moved towards Trump. African Americans moving towards Trump. Jews moving towards Trump. Muslims, dare I say, moved towards Trump. And then, of course, the second blue wall. Now, what is that? The second blue wall runs along the Texas-Mexican border. And that blue wall came down. These are counties, 100% almost Catholic and Latin, that all flipped from blue to red. And they flipped from blue to red because of the Democrats' immigration policies. So Hispanics have moved towards Trump as well. look at a map of California county by county. You know, Newsom's going to try to redistrict California. He better look at what happened county by county from 2020 to 2024, because I think it was like 12 80% plus Latin American Catholic Catholic counties in California, just like the Texas border situation, flipped from the Democrats to the Republicans. See, the Democrats have made a fatal flaw. They always were worried that African Americans would escape the plantation a second time that they put them on. This time meant a mental one. First time was a physical one. They were always worried that they needed to replace the black vote with someone. Enter the brown vote. Their idea, I guess, was that they would replace African-American voters in the Democrat Party with millions of people that never get divorced and never have abortions and say the rosary twice a day. Good luck with that.
Well, we stopped
if Newsom's not careful.
Well, we're running out of time here, AJ. We're having so much fun.
If Newsom's not careful, California will be redistricted, and there will be even more Republican seats, not less. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's so much more to talk about, and we stopped the alien invasion. We're lowering crime nationwide, and we are turning the nation more red than blue, and we will be gaining seats in the midterm election. There's no doubt about that. But AJ, people can also find you up on Substack, where you also have the Publius National Post, which I subscribe to, yes. And your book, The White Privilege Album, people can find up on Amazon. You know, I love talking with you. And like I said, it's been more than a decade. We have been friends and worked together. Right. And you have helped this podcast very much. And I sent you a few people too.
That's right. That's right, girl. We love you here. You know, we wish you good health. And, you know, keep fighting down there in the Carolinas, right? Keep fighting.
Absolutely. And I still run a Tea Party down here also, as well as being involved in my county GOP. But you had mentioned the CO2 Coalition. And I think I may have told you that once before, that I was Gregory Wrightstone's first. I was the first one to interview him ever.
Wow.
And right at that time, I invited him.
With us right now. He's one of the people that have been with us the longest at this point.
Yeah, and he came to my Tea Party meeting before he came and was interviewed with me. So I was his first. So AJ,
I love it.
Thank you so very much. God bless.
Thank you, girl. We'll talk soon.
I'm praying for this land I love, America, America, the home of the free. But there are people making plans to change America. They've no respect for her or what matters most to me. That's why I stand for the flag and I kneel at the cross. Mourn for the friends I have loved and lost. And I still believe in God we trust, and the freedom our forefathers granted us. I hope it's not too late to save America. Do you hear our battle cry across America? We've got to rescue her. You know it's up to me and you to see the truth behind their lies. Don't change America. God bless America and the red, white, and blue. That's why I stand for the flag and I kneel at the cross. Long for the friends I have loved and lost. And I still believe in God we trust, and the freedom I America. For the friends we have loved and lost, and we still believe in God we trust, in the freedom our forefathers granted us. We know it's not too late to save America. Save America. Let's save America. Together we can save